Think of the last time you followed a rule you didn't agree with. Maybe you didn't even question it. Maybe you simply did what the situation demanded. That's normal. It's human. But the real reason is far stranger than you think. Most of us believe good people stay good, bad people stay bad, and our character follows us wherever we go. It's comforting. It's also one of the biggest misconceptions in psychology. In August 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo recruited 24 mentally healthy college students for what became the Stanford prison experiment. Half were randomly assigned as guards, the other half as prisoners. A mock prison was built in the basement of Stanford University, and the study was supposed to last 2 weeks. It lasted only 6 days. The guards weren't told to be cruel. They were simply instructed to maintain order. Yet within hours, they began inventing punishments, replacing names with numbers, humiliating prisoners, and escalating their authority. By the second day, prisoners revolted. The guards responded with harsher punishments, isolation, and psychological abuse. One prisoner suffered such severe emotional distress that he had to be released early. The shocking part is that these weren't violent criminals or sadists. They were ordinary students who had passed psychological screening. The experiment suggested something deeply uncomfortable. Human behavior isn't driven only by personality. It's shaped by the situations we enter and the roles we believe we're expected to play. Psychologists call this the power of situational forces. Long before you consciously decide how to act, your brain is already reading the room. Faces, authority, expectations, group behavior, and social cues. For our ancestors, reacting quickly to context was a survival advantage. That same mental software still runs today. You've experienced it countless times. You're not exactly the same person during a job interview as you are with your closest friends. You speak differently in a classroom than in a family argument. Online anonymity changes behavior again. None of these versions are fake. The environment simply activates different parts of your personality. The Stanford study wasn't the only evidence. In 1961, Stanley Milgram found that ordinary people were willing to administer what they believed were increasingly painful electric shocks, simply because an authority figure in a lab coat told them the experiment required it. A decade earlier, Solomon Asch showed that people often ignored what they clearly saw with their own eyes just to avoid disagreeing with a group. Different experiments, different settings, the same unsettling pattern. People rarely become cruel in one dramatic leap. They slide into it through small, seemingly reasonable steps. One compromise justifies the next. Before long, behavior that once felt unthinkable becomes normal because everyone around them accepts it. Years later, historians reviewing the Stanford prison experiment uncovered evidence that some guards may have received subtle encouragement to behave more aggressively than the popular story suggests. That complicates the experiment, but it doesn't erase the broader lesson. Humans are remarkably responsive to authority, expectations, social pressure, and the systems surrounding them. History repeatedly shows that ordinary people, teachers, workers, neighbors, and students can commit extraordinary acts of both cruelty and kindness, depending on the environment they are placed in. This doesn't remove personal responsibility. It changes the question we should ask. Instead of asking, is this person good or bad? Ask, what does this environment make easy and what does it make difficult? That's why the most successful organizations focus on systems instead of slogans. Hospitals reduce medical errors with checklists and better procedures. Airlines improved safety by redesigning cockpit communication, so junior officers could challenge senior pilots without fear. Better systems make better choices easier. As Zimbardo later argued, sometimes the problem isn't a few bad apples, it's a bad barrel. So the next time you judge someone's behavior or your own, don't ask only who they are. Ask what room they're standing in. Because rooms shape people. And here's the hopeful part. If cruelty can spread through a system one small step at a time, so can kindness. One person refusing to take the next wrong step can change what an entire group considers normal. The last time you followed a rule you didn't agree with, you weren't weak. You were human. You were reading the room. And the room was talking back.